I'm racing across the world with just one goal, to win the league in as many countries as I can, as fast as I can. There's a single rule though: when it's time to switch nations, I can only move to clubs within 250 kilometers of teams I've already beaten. It might sound far, but this journey will take us over 5,000 kilometers through 8 countries and into 3 leagues that I've never managed in before. We began in Azerbaijan, now we've won the league in Turkey, Greece, Serbia and Azerbaijan, and we're entering Central Europe with a trip to Croatia. To make this the ultimate journeyman save, we're also trying to learn as much as we can about every nation, city and club we interact with. Sit back, grab a Zagreb schnitzel and let's try to crush Croatia. We've not actually mentioned where Neil Warnock is heading today. We only had a single option for this leg of the journey, and after beating teams close to the Serbian border last time, only Osijek was in range of any team in Serbia. Osijek is most well known for being surrounded by impassable swampland, but it's also the hometown of a FIFA icon in Davor Suker. It's also home to the 2021 Croatian League runners-up NK Osijek. They've never actually won the title in Croatia, but this team has also never been relegated. A famous team with a fairly average history, this is the perfect team for this save. We've got 2 teams that we can beat to help us leave Croatia. We'll probably go via Italy in the next leg, which we avoided back when we were in Greece, but the strategic positions of Rijeka and Istria on the west coast will allow us to move to dozens of teams in central and northern Italy. If we go via the north, we get access to 2 of Italy's most famous FIFA sides in Udinese and Venezia. Alternatively, we could go via central Italy, but this path would result us in only really being able to move to Fiorentina, which still needs a total rebuild if they want to be ready for a league win. If we don't fancy Italy at all, we could actually skip directly over Slovenia, and Austria is also just within our range. 6 of the Austrian Bundesliga teams would be available if we could go on to beat Varaždin, but it's going to be a bit of a tougher game. This means we've got a lot of big games this season. The away games at Istria and Varaždin are going to be crucial for leaving the country, but we will also need to beat the reigning champions Dinamo Zagreb to make sure we get this title. Hajduk Split and Lokomotiva are also huge matches for this club. I've got no idea who's really in my squad, and I have even less idea about how to pronounce some of these players' names. Our budget is similar to what we had in Greece and Serbia, and our team is clearly the second best in this division. To overtake Dinamo and cruise to the title, we'll need a little bit more pace out wide, probably an experienced midfielder and 2 dominant centre backs, and thankfully, our scouts already know just the men to sign. Neil Warnock thought it would be fitting to bring back a player who was both a FIFA legend and someone who also played against him in the championship back on FIFA 16. How perfect would it be for our 35 sprint speed Alen Halilovic to become a legend in Croatia in his final ever season? Even if he doesn't, I know one of these other players we've signed could become a hero, so let's try and find out who. 2 sturdy centre-backs are available for free, the Italian Ceccaroni and German Baumgartel, and it actually looked like our team was already ready to compete with Zagreb for the title. With our deals finalised, it was time for Warnock to manage his first ever game in the Croatian Football League. Our first 2 games were both away from Osijek, and the first was against NK Rudess. It turned out to be an easy win against arguably the worst team in the league. The second game was a bit bigger though. It was actually already away to Rijeka, one of the teams that we had to beat if we wanted to head to northern Italy. In the whole of Croatia, there's not a single journey that's longer than Osijek heading to Rijeka. It's 400 kilometers and it's 8 hours on the bus, but every single player in this team has done this journey, or at least one that's longer than this in the past. So we knew how to prepare and we were on it from minute 1. In fact, in the first 5 minutes, we had our first chance. Alen Halilovic dancing around a couple of defenders. The ball would make its way to Fuchak and he would have his shot blocked on the line after showing a nice piece of skill. The rest of the first half was all Osijek, but the first chance for the second half actually fell to Rijeka, and they would punish us. With their first shot of the game, we had gone behind. This was all about getting the comeback on now, and Mulitman Miertz would start it off. What a finish that was from just on the edge of the box. It was a tight angle, but his finish was absolutely brilliant. Our play was also brilliant. We did some nice tiki-taka on the edge of the box, producing a chance, and we knew with 20 minutes to go, we really did have a decent chance of scoring. Halilovic would actually be the one on the end of the chance. He's created so much for us in this first match, and he would be the one that put us into the lead. We deserved to be 2-1 up. It was just an all-round nice goal. Nice passing, nice finish, nice movement off the ball, and Neil Warnock absolutely appreciated that. Our main objective was to try and get a bit of confidence into Halilovic, because we knew that he could dominate matches at this level, and you could see from the finish he tried there, he was absolutely loving it. But we got a red card, and things were not looking so good. All of a sudden, in such an important game, we had to hang on. They would hit the post, we would clear the ball, and the referee would blow his whistle. We got the win. After we played Rijeka, we also faced Lokomotiva, a team that's also going to finish in the bottom 3. It was another easy win, and after 3 games, we were on 9 points. If any team was about to stop that run though, it would probably be Hajduk Split. Historically, Hajduk are one of the 2 biggest clubs in the league, and they play against the only other bigger side in the eternal derby every time they face Dinamo Zagreb. They've also won the Croatian League 8 times now in the past 37 years, with only Zagreb's 27 titles eclipsing them. It was going to be a tough game, just like that away match against Rijeka, but at least this time, we had the home crowd at the Opus Arena behind us. The game didn't start off very well. We actually went 1 down thanks to a few mistakes that were starting to creep into our game for the first time. But halftime came and suddenly we looked like a totally different team. We were pressing forwards and we managed to score just before the 60th minute. But then we conceded again and it looked like we were in danger of collapsing and getting our first loss. With 30 minutes to find an equaliser, we kept pushing for that second goal. We go close a couple of times, but eventually it comes and we get the equaliser. We kept pushing for a third to win the match, but in the end, I guess we'll have to take the draw against such a good team. Somehow though, even after we went unbeaten during a pretty difficult start, we were still joint first with Zagreb after 7 games. There was a bit of a gap forming behind us in 3rd place, but it was actually NK Istra that currently sat in that position. This made the 400-kilometre trip even more important. The Rijeka game meant that we'd already confirmed we would be able to leave Italy to Udinese or Venezia, but deep down I think Neil Warnock wanted the option to move to both Sassuolo and Fiorentina as well. Just a few days before the big journey to Istra on the west coast, we got quite a lot of injuries all coming through at the same time. In the end we had 5 key players all injured, but thankfully our squad depth was actually really good, so we had 2 or 3 good players in every single position. This meant that the Istra game was a lot tougher than we expected, but Alen Halilovic did what he'd been doing all season. He put the ball on the plate for one of the simplest goals you'll ever see. Another team dominated by the man that used to have 92 potential, and the Osijek fans felt like he was actually playing at 92 overall. We stay in the title fight into December, and you can feel the tension starting to build around the squad. This team has been in this position before, crumbling after leading the league at the halfway point. That's exactly why transfer windows make every Osijek fan nervous. Last time they had a chance at the title, the club decided to sell Ante Majstorovic to China for €7 million, and they would miss out on the title by 9 points. We get a few big offers in this January too. We can't have unhappy players, so a couple leave and we replace them with a couple of similarly rated players. We do get a huge £3.5 million offer for Alen Halilovic though. He's our best playmaker, but he absolutely wants to leave. We can't have too many unhappy players in our squad, so we actually agreed to sell him as well, and in his final game for us, he puts in a man of the match performance and stretches our lead to 3 points. As the news strikes that Halilovic will be leaving, morale throughout the team drops. We'll need to replace Halilovic, and I think Dragomir Knežević could be the best option. He's still only 22, so our favourite midfield from last year in Serbia will be joining Osijek from Serdalika for a few £1 million. In his first match though, he struggles quite badly. He doesn't score or assist in his 2nd, 3rd or 4th games either. Have we actually just made a big mistake getting rid of Halilovic that means we're going to be forced into a 2nd Croatian season? Well, with 1st place officially lost to Zagreb, we head to the capital city to play against Gorica. Once again, we start Knežević in midfield, but this time, something different happens. Knežević is in the middle of every single move we do. He's pinging passes out to the left and the right, and finally, he gets his first goal. Later in the game, Knežević also sees a pass that no one else in our team could, and single-handedly earns us 3 points against Gorica. Finally, we were back in some decent form, and we need to be because now we're 5 points behind Zagreb with just 15 games to go. Thankfully though, with every team in this league playing each other 4 times, 2 of those 15 games are actually going to be against Dinamo Zagreb. In leagues where teams play against each other 4 times, you can actually get some pretty interesting ends to the season, and this was shaping up to be one of them. From the first minute, you could tell both teams were wanting to win this match. Stojkovic, the league's top scorer, forcing a great save off our goalkeeper right there, and right down the other end, we were straight back at them. Our right back put in a really good cross, and on the volley we smash it straight into the back of the net. A very nice goal, and one that could be very, very important this season. We went into the second half with a bit of a different mentality. We were just going to press them as high up the pitch as intensely as we can, and our midfielder Lazaro won the ball, crossed it in, and Zivkovic hit in yet another really nice volley. What a goal that was, from winning the ball that high to getting the cross exactly right to the finish and celebration. Everything about that goal very satisfying to watch. But of course, we're not going to write Zagreb off just yet. They have a lot of experience, nearly 30 titles, they've been in this position before, and we did a massive mistake in the 69th minute. We give away a stupid penalty, Stojkovic steps up, and of course, as the league's top scorer, he is not going to miss a penalty. So that meant we now had 20 minutes to try and hold on to see out this win. Dynamo Zagreb were all out at attack, and in fact we dived in, and it probably did save us from conceding a goal, but Baumgartel got a red card. Just like in that game against Rijeka, we now had about 20 minutes. We were going to have to hold on in this match with just 10 men. We decided to switch up quite a few players in our defence, and it looked like it was working because Manev was an absolute monster at the back. The first Zagreb chance after the red card came in the 90th minute, and Manev was the man to step in and clear the ball. But Zagreb weren't done yet. They still had a minute left. And again, this time Drought got the interception. Zagreb would keep hold of the ball though, and they would finally get the cross in. It was blocked, it was saved, it was caught, and we would end up winning. After a potentially title-deciding win against Zagreb, a few more matches pass, and Osijek and Zagreb are both in really good form. With 7 games of the season left to go, the table puts us in second place, just 2 points behind them. We continued our good run. We just about managed to beat Rijeka, we went to Belupo and won decisively there as well, and even managed to destroy Lokomotiva by beating them by 3 goals. But the gap stayed at 2 points. Finally though, it was time for another game against Zagreb. The anticipation was huge. We don't want to risk this second season, so we need to win this game and confirm the title. The table had set things up nicely for a home tie at the Opus Arena. We'd won the away game twice, so we knew that we could do it in front of our own fans. The fans were really excited for this one too, because with a capacity crowd of 13,000, we fought for every ball, we knew which players to trust, and we knew who could handle the pressure. The pressure wasn't really that big of a factor for us though, because we've been in this situation for so many times in this challenge. It happened in Azerbaijan, in Turkey, in Greece, and in Serbia. We had to win a match towards the end of the season when it seemed like everything was lost. We knew exactly what we needed to do in this one, just get the 3 points, and then try and beat some of the worst teams we were yet to face. We did get a corner after some good pressure within the first 20 minutes, and when Neil Warnock was a player, one of the things he was always told was to follow in his chances. Stanic did exactly that and smashed in on the volley a corner rebound goal. Not the best goal we've scored this season, but possibly one of the most important. We kept the pressure up, we kept the passes going, we kept the tackles flying in, and throughout the entire first half, this was one of the most one-sided matches we've played against Zagreb this year, with Halalovic not being in the squad anymore and Kisnevic not being that great at dominating big games. It was actually Stanic that was being the biggest difference maker, a centre-back who was playing at left-back. It was a really nice cross and Fukac really should have scored. Halalovic, and that's not the same Halalovic we had earlier in the season, nearly scored against us there, and it just seemed like there was chance after chance after chance in this game. It seemed every 5 minutes there could have been a goal. Kisnevic with a good chance right there. He would get another one a few minutes later, and he would also fluff that one up too. Our mullet man striker Mies was also playing pretty well, but he hasn't scored in a while. But that's fine when you've got him being part of the build-up for goals like that one. We passed it basically entirely across the defence of Zagreb, and there is nothing a goalkeeper is going to do when they're one-on-one with Fukac in that situation. Although, we did, of course, have a bit of a reputation for making mistakes at the end of matches. And it looked like we'd done the exact same thing right here. We allowed a big gap in the middle there for Zagreb to exploit. And this guy is top scorer in the league for a reason, because he's actually really good at finishing. He was never going to miss that one. We knew we only had to hold on for a few more seconds, so when we won the ball, we just ran to the corner flag and decided to belt one as hard as we could. The referee blew his whistle, and yet again, we had won a massive game against Zagreb. With us now officially in first place, the season was starting to come to an end, and just like how we started with 5 tough games in our first 10, we were ending with 5 tough games in our last 5. The first of the 5 was the toughest. Hajduk Split had been so close to both us and Zagreb in the table this season, but they had fallen away over the past few weeks. Thanks to Kisnevic dominating the midfield, we just about beat them and kept ourselves in first place. Despite winning this match though, we hadn't won anything yet. We had 3 more banana skins left. First was Istra 1961, who we beat, and the best news about this game was that somehow Zagreb had drawn in the Eternal Derby, so now we were a full 5 points clear. Our next game was against Gorica, which we drew, and that meant we knew that a win would win us the title. We scraped past Lokomotiva, and Osijek had finally done it. After 37 years in the Croatian top division, Osijek were the deserved Croatian champions, and we'd also grabbed 2 perfect routes, one to Austria and one to Italy, and they're both lined up for the next episode, so hopefully you subscribe and I'll see you right there. But thank you for watching this one, really do appreciate the support on this series. I'll see you soon, cheers and goodbye.